To today's student concerts here at ICMuS. I'd like to welcome you all on this fabulous Thursday. At the start of this session, I thought it might be just useful to remind ourselves of the kind of rationale for these student concerts, just very, very briefly. The concert series is obviously a required part of your modules, which is important. We all need to listen to our peers to give supportive feedback, to listen to some music that isn't necessarily your own specialism or genre. And also it is a required part of the module because we want to listen to as much music as we can. I just wanted to share my undergraduate experience was I had to do lunchtime concerts down at the Royal College of Music in London for 4 years. I listened begrudgingly at some points, I will say, to the lunchtime programs and the student performances that were there. But I, in my own life, have probably utilised the experience of listening to not my own. I was there as a vocalist. I can't actually remember any of the vocal concerts. I can remember incredible instrumentalists from other things that I learned from. How they connected with an audience, the technical side of their playing, etc., etc. So I know sometimes at the moment it probably feels, without in any ways meaning to sound patronising, I'm just talking as a very old person in comparison to all you guys, that it is useful. It's a really useful thing to be doing, and it's one of the big parts of ICMuS that I think is great, that we do have these weekly slots. And just important to remember that you're all going to have to do this at some point if you're performance students. And what we are trying to do for the finalists is to give them a platform where they can, in a safe and supportive way, perform their work to their peers. Yeah. And when I say perform work, we're trying to encourage people to go out with their comfort zones. So sometimes people are really putting themselves in a position that it's a big challenge. And I just hope that you will bear that in mind. So I will be sending through a reminded message about Zoom etiquette and what we expect you to be doing in these sessions. So I would like you to think about actively listening. Yeah, so everybody, if you can, be concentrating on the performance and giving your lovely commentary, supportive commentaries that we've been seeing over this year, that would be really, really great. So let's go. We have 3 performances today, and the first performer is Heather Goodfellow. So Heather Goodfellow is a 3rd year year abroad folk student, and she plays the fiddle, and she's going to play 2 sets. The first one is called The Maid That Tends the Goat, and a reel that's also attached to that same title. And then the second set is a Strathspey set full of great Gaelic tunes. So here's Heather.
Hiya, I'm Heather. I'm going to play 2 sets. The first one is a tune called The Maid That Tends the Goats, and it's an old Gaelic song. the next one I'm going to play is a set of two tunes. The first one is called Ilavik, and the second one is called Stomping Laura, and that one's by Douglas Montgomery from a band called Saltfish 40 from Orkney.
Lovely playing there from Heather Goodfellow. So, Heather, I have a few things to ask you. First of all, the melodies that you're playing there, where did you find those melodies?
So the first one is an old Gaelic song, and I found it in the Patrick MacDonald collection from 1784. I absolutely love that collection. It's so good.
So, talk to us just a tiny bit more about it. So, put it in context for people who maybe don't know that repertoire.
So it's a Scottish book, and it's from the Highlands, and it's just old. Like, it's a lot of Gaelic repertoire, and there's a lot of Gaelic songs in it. They don't have the lyrics; they've just the tune.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, there's a lot. This is trying to find your own repertory, isn't it? So trying to, within folk music, make your own set of tunes that nobody else is really playing. And old collections is a great place to start. I am interested, Heather, in the fact that you are a Gaelic singer. yourself. You sing beautifully in Gaelic. What do you find you can take from the singing aspect? I mean, I suppose there's loads of people here that might play two instruments. You know, it's interesting what you can learn on one instrument and transfer to the other. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I don't actually speak Gaelic. I just do it by phonetics. But I don't know. I like where you take breaths is like if you're playing, if you're going to go and play a tune, it would be different to how you would sing it. So while singing it, like you know where to take the breaths, and you know like how like the expressions kind of go. So I can like take that and put it into my playing.
Yeah.
Whereas if I wasn't like if I didn't sing and I just like look at the transcription, I'd play it completely different, I think.
Mm-hmm. So, have you ever tried to play the tunes that you sing and you know the words to? I'm quite interested to know whether that would change the practice for you. Do you understand what I mean? If you would actually play more like, you know, your vocal version. Have you tried that before?
Not really.
Mm-hmm. Because I just wonder how much the words would lead you to phrase the instrumental tune in a different way.
Yeah.
Be interesting to think about. Yeah. So, one other question I had for you. I said you were a year abroad student. You're not from abroad. You're from the ICMuS cohort, but you spent your last year on a year abroad. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I know there's quite a few people that might be in certainly the first and second years that'll be thinking about the possibility of a year abroad. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about where you went and what kind of experience it was?
Yeah, so I went to Montreal in Quebec and it was so amazing. It was like so cool. I went to Concordia University and it's so I didn't actually do much performance when I went there. I went to sessions a lot. So I went to sessions about 3 times a week. Um, but in the actual university, it's very heavily jazz based. And it's like the jazz in Montreal is insane. It is so cool. And just like everywhere you go, every night something is happening. Um, there's a bar that I really liked, Sam Fox. I don't know if anybody of you know him, but he went there 2 years ago, I think, and um, he went to this bar like all the time. So did I, and it's like jazz every night, and then one night is like a French Canadian traditional musicians like session. So fun, love it, and there's a big Irish influence there as well.
That's great. And I know that your plans for summer recital is that you're going to start including some of the French Canadian repertoire into your summer set. So we look forward to hearing some of that, Heather. Really great. Okay, so let's move on to the second person in the concert today. We have Joseph Morris, and Joseph is an electric guitarist. Um, we're going to hear one long kind of set, the first part of which is a kind of semi improvised jam guitar based piece referencing Mesaloo by Dick Dale. Hopefully that's right, Joseph. And yes, and then at the end there's going to be a more kind of a chilled out jam. Now, Joseph has been joined by Dan Wright, who's also an ICMuS student, who's currently in Joseph's support bubble. So just so you know, it's all been done with the correct social distancing, etc., etc. So let's hear Joseph's piece.
Hello, I'm Joseph, that's Daniel, and we're in a support bubble together, and we're going to play some music for you, so please enjoy.
work there from Joseph Morris and from Dan Wright as well, also a fantastic player. So lots of very nice comments in there, Joseph, about how seamless your duo is there, and how you seem to almost be connected throughout that piece. But I'm very, very interested around how structured a piece like that is, how much preparation goes into it beforehand, and just how you came around the arrangement and the recording.
Yeah, okay, so so sort of for a bit of context, like last week I forgot that I had the student concert coming up, so Olivia's email came as like a bit of a surprise to me. But I'd sort of, me and Dan had sort of talked about doing stuff before, so we sort of had to quickly come up with something. So like, it was basically just like messing around with different ideas and seeing what worked. And yeah, I was like, playing around with like a sort of surf riff, and then Dan actually came up with the idea to do Mizzaloo. And I sort of suggested that we'd like extend it out and improvise around that. And yeah, and for the sort of the second piece, like towards the end, was just based around two chords basically, that Dan just started playing on the synth. So yeah, we just wanted to have fun with it, really, is the key sort of factor, and did.
Yeah, well, it certainly was really successful, Joseph. But behind all things that look as though they're fairly easy, and the fact that you're absolutely on top of it, there's obviously a lot of skill that goes in there. I mean, what are you doing to indicate? You say you had that lovely chill section at the end. Have you beforehand decided what will be your out on that, or are you just using visual cues or embodied gestures to let you know when?
Yeah, kind of like a mixture of different things. So like we came up with a vague idea of like where Mizzaloo would end, and a lot of like eye to eye contact and sort of like nodding at each other to indicate like a change. But yeah, and we just sort of listen out to like when the other would like change an effect. So like at the start, we sort of wanted to like build up like the distortion. Mm-hmm. So we'd listen out for like each other, like clicking our pedals and stuff, and I think it worked semi-successfully. I can hear like a few sort of mess ups in there, a few like duff notes, but I'm very happy with how it came out.
Yeah, you should be, Joseph. Just one other question was about how you're finding your practice sits in this new videoed kind of environment. Like when you review the video there, are there things that you would do differently next time about kind of introducing your material or the kind of presentation of it?
I'd maybe tidy up the room a little bit, because
I love the ironing board. Oh no, the air dryer.
Thanks.
But that'd been carefully curated.
Yeah, I just sort of like left a lot of stuff lying around, and like there was various bits of musical equipment there that I wasn't even using. But I'd probably change the lighting a bit, because in my semester one performance, I had like these disco lights that I had that were pretty cool, and for some reason I just forgot that I had them and didn't put them in. But yeah, and I quite liked the idea, the way that I introduced it, sort of with the synth going like in the background.
You got some very good comments on that from people.
Thanks.
That worked really nicely. Great work, Joseph. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that.
Cheers.
Thank you. Great. So we have one more performer today, and in true ICMuS fashion, we're going to have something totally different, and we have a classical pianist to end today's programme, Cindy Lee. So Cindy is going to be playing 4 pieces from Chopin's collection of 24 preludes, and she's playing prelude 1, 6, 13 and 20. And yeah, let's have a little listen to it and then we'll have a chat.
My
Good afternoon, hope you're all doing well. I'm going to be playing a selection from Chopin's 24 Preludes, Opus 28 today. I'm going to start off with playing number 1, followed by number 6, 13, and then 20. Hope you enjoy. Thank you. Stay safe.
Lovely. Cindy, thank you so much for that. The delicious left-hand sequence there in that final prelude. It's just, oh, just love it. I mean, this is really beautiful repertoire. I want to ask you why you chose to play those Chopin preludes today.
So last year I did another Chopin piece, which was an etude. So I thought I'd sort of carry on the whole Chopin thing and do some preludes for my interim, which I recently did. And then I remember I also actually analysed the piece last year in one of my modules. I was like, oh, how interesting. But yeah, and I'm doing another Chopin piece for my final as well. So.
Well, we'll really look forward to hearing that. I wanted to chat a little bit as well about the introduction of your pieces. I mean, I know the conventions amongst classical pianists is that, you know, there's usually you know, you would have program notes and then you would come on stage and you would deliver without necessarily introducing to the audience. How do you feel in the kind of video performances here? I mean, you're obviously quite happy chatting, Cindy, here. Do you think that's an element that you could add to your video performances?
Yeah, I think at the beginning of like each piece, I could give a bit of context to like, or like information about the piece to help people understand it more or in depth. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no pressure there because, of course, we know the conventions of the way that people have done it over the centuries at this point. But I mean, I would say, you know, we are breaking normal conventions here, and you know, and you have an audience here. I'm sure in the chat there, you're going to get a few people saying that would sound lovely. So please don't be scared to do that in this environment. It might be quite a nice change for yourself as well to talk about your pieces that you're obviously connected to, really in the way that you're talking about them, which is lovely. You are obviously in lockdown and you play an instrument that is, you know, you have an instrument at home, but you don't have access to, you know, the instruments that we have in ICMuS. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about the kind of frustrations, challenges, positive things about that?
So at the beginning of the year, I was back up in Newcastle. I'm at home now. But at the beginning of the year, we couldn't get access to like practice rooms and stuff. So there was a frustration in that. And then later on, we were loaned out keyboards, which was quite nice. But yeah, it was quite nice to be able to access pianos. But then once lockdown hit at the new year, I was stuck at home. So I was quite lucky to have a piano at home, but there's the occasional sticky keys, which are really annoying. And my piano is slightly out of tune, but if you don't notice it, then it's fine. But yeah, it's quite difficult. And you can't like move it about either.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you've done a really great performance there, and as you'll see from some of the chat, people are saying, you know, that they've really enjoyed the fact that you give the space for the atmosphere to fade at the end of your pieces. I think we could all do with learning about that, and before you take off into the next piece. So, Cindy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For playing, and thank you to everybody who performed today. Next week we have a full program. We're stopping a little bit earlier than normal today. But anyway, thank you all for listening. I noticed there's very attentive today. And we will see you same time next week.